Protocol. I'm Charles, also known as Omnis. And what we got for you today is Guardians versus Wakanda. So Jamie is playing Guardians. He's got Star-Lord, Groot, Rocket, Ronan, and then he's bringing in Modok in an unaffiliated slot. I'm playing Wakanda. I've got Black Panther. I've got Shuri. I've got Okoye. And then I'm bringing in Loki plus Mind Gem. And then I've also got Valkyrie. So bringing in the Asgardians. We're playing on Infinity Formula and cubes. So this is going to be a crazy amount of power generation. So Jamie starts off by deploying Groot, kind of going on the bottom side of the screen. And then I went ahead and stuck Okoye kind of right in the middle. And then he's got Ronan going down on the table now. God, love Ronan so much. That character is so good. So much threat to put all over the place. He's definitely someone that I'm worried about in this game. Might as well talk tactics cards for a minute. So he's bringing Crew of the Milano, Brace for Impact, Med Pack, and then he's also got Deadly Duo and Aim Lackeys. I am playing Wakanda Forever, Vibranium Shielding, I've got Med Pack, I've got Field Dressing, and then Tactical Analysis was my other one. So now I'm going and I'm putting Valkyrie on the table. Again, I'm going for kind of very central deployment right now. Try not to give away too much positioning. I'm still very concerned about where Modok is going to go. So he goes kind of centrally deployed with Rocket. This dude is... There's definitely a lot of firepower on Jamie's team. The combination of Modok with rerolls, plus giving rerolls to Ronan, Rocket, Star-Lord. There is a ton of damage potential coming my way. I also centrally deployed Black Panther. Again, I'm playing kind of for flexibility as opposed to necessarily a really crazy turn one. But I'm also keeping my options open in regard to that center cube, because who knows what's going to happen with that. There's so much that can happen there. So, all right. Looks like he's trying to decide where to stick Star-Lord. And he goes kind of central, but still leaning towards the bottom. Okay, so looks like he's still saving Modok. I've still yet to decide where to put Shuri. And looks like I've got... Loki going kind of towards the top of the board now. Whew. All right. And Giant Modok hits the table, going for a very central threatening position as opposed to a more crisis-oriented position. That's definitely going to be interesting. All right, and for my final deployment, just got to get Shuri on the table. And she's going for very crisis-oriented play. Big surprise there. But let's do it. Let's go ahead and get into round one. Guardians versus Wakanda. All right, we've got round one now. I am so excited for this game. Two of my favorite affiliations duking it out. So it's starting off, and Jamie has priority. He's got the Guardians team with the firepower, and he gets to make the first move, which is a good place for him to be. Now, mind you, he is running that 5-character team, so it's going to be hard for him to keep priority if he blows up a character right away. Looks like Jamie is now going for a very aggressive play with Star-Lord. Looks like he's making the scenario play. He wants to put some pressure on me, and he wants to get ahead using that centerpiece. This immediately puts me in a position where I need to do something to potentially counter this. So I'm kind of dictating, foreshadowing, but what I use is, since Loki's got 3 power, I have him use tactical analysis right away so that Valkyrie can move up a short move right now. So that, obviously, foreshadowing, that puts her in charge range of Star-Lord. So we're going to have to see. Loki over here now still has the power left because he has the Mind Gem. So he picks up the cube and he's getting on in formula. So kind of, I want to threaten Star-Lord. Haven't made a play for that yet, but get Loki up in a good spot. So I'm really happy I took tactical analysis right now, and Loki just felt like the perfect character to use it. So Jamie goes ahead, has Groot go and grab the cube, realizing right now, man, that is a great role for Groot. The ability for him to heal, so even after he gets the cube, if he does nothing else, he could just be healing that every turn. So now I've got Panther. I want to make sure that I don't give him any other opportunities to grab cubes, so I'm taking an opportunity now because I don't feel very threatened over there. Black Panther goes ahead, picks up that cube, and he's going to hang out by that formula. He's kind of playing a little bit more to keep distance away from the possible shots as opposed to positioning a little further forward. He's going with Ronan. He's grabbing that cube as well. We're trying to get all the cubes picked up right away. And so kind of the rest of the game, we can kind of see what's going to happen. Because with cubes, they get dropped a lot. Now I'm moving up with Okoye. Thankfully for that central position, I'm going to put a Spear Blast into Star-Lord. He rolls no blocks initially, but with Plucky Attitude, he's able to get enough so he takes no damage. So it was worth a shot. Still gives Okoye a power, but I wanted to potentially soften him up to maybe help with the odds for Valkyrie down the road. Now we got some range checking going on. He's trying to figure out exactly where Rocket should end up going. He's got that big range 5 plasma rifle for me to worry about. So he's got to kind of figure out what direction Rocket's going to go. He's got someone for the formula on both sides. Groot's relatively safe at the moment. He's definitely not getting pushed off, but there is the potential for Shuri to push Ronan. So Modok moves up in a very aggressive play, kind of hanging out by Star-Lord. Whew, that was not something I was expecting, but it does mean that Modok is activated, which is good. So now at this point, I'm trying to figure out where my characters are going to all end up being when factoring in where Valkyrie's going to charge to. So my thought process here is I have a decent Shuri activation right now. I'm thinking I push Ronan away or push Modok away and get her into a spot where she is on the formula but can give rerolls to Valkyrie. And I'm hoping that I can maybe, get, an extra power with that skull to help her out. So I positioned Shuri so she's just outside of range 4 of Modok so he doesn't get to double shot her. But I'm going for the push on Ronan as opposed to Modok. I want to get him off the point, so this is a crisis play. I do get the stole. I end up doing the normal 1 damage to Ronan, and I get 2 power out of it. So it means that Shuri's on 3. So that's feeling good. Okay, I've got 3 potential rerolls for Valkyrie when I go to activate her. I'm happy with that. That 1 reroll could make all the difference. I'm happy I got the skull that time. All right, and Ronan is now off of the crisis. This is where we start checking some positioning for Rocket, and if he had been a size 2 character, he probably just walks right over that car. But because he's size 1, he does not have a great play to just go over the car and get to that point. So he's going to lose 1 crisis point over there. Rocket probably should have been deployed a little bit more, a little bit skewed more that direction. But so he goes for an offensive play, definitely lining it up. So no matter what happens at the start of next turn, he has all of his guns right in the middle. So I'm definitely feeling like none of my characters are safe for the most part. Except maybe Black Panther. Black Panther's kind of out of range for the most part. So, all right. Well, it is now time for Valkyrie. So I'm just kind of checking. I want to make sure that she's going to be in range for that Shuri rerolls, but also in range of Star-Lord. So she goes for the charge. She's an Asgardian. She gets up there. Star-Lord's not going to have cover because I'm within range 2. He ends up with a block die, so I know he doesn't have any reroll potential. All things said and done, I get 3 damage on him. That is a perfectly reasonable start. He still has 3 more stamina, but now I've got some power. I've got the power to fund a Wakanda reroll, and I've got 2 for Warrior of Legend. So, Warrior of Legend, another strike. I've got to get 3 out of this. He ended up with no blocks, so he rerolls. He gets 1. And I don't end up needing to reroll anything else because with Warrior of Legend, that puts me to 4 hits. He blocks 1. And so, boom, I go ahead and take him down. So Star-Lord's aggressive play is definitely maybe not the best one for him. But I would have been okay even if, potentially, if he had gone down to 1, because I'm going to throw him. Maybe that forces brace. But I'm still happy with how this played out. It allows Valkyrie to still have the power to pick up the cube, and so I think this is a good spot. All right, end of the round. It ends up going up 3 for Jamie and 5 for me. So let's go ahead, move on to round 2. All right. This is going to be a critical round. We already had Star-Lord go straight to dazed on round 1, so that definitely put Guardians in a precarious position. But he does have priority, and he has all of his guns up in front. So someone is going to get hurt real bad. It'll be really interesting to see what Jamie chooses here, because he's got Rocket, he's got Star-Lord, he's got Modok. He has firepower. So we're going to go ahead and check out, see what happens next. We're loading up on power. Loki ends up gaining 5 this round because of Cube, Formula, Gem, plus has Guardians. So we're just like handing out power like crazy. So there's going to be a lot of cool superpowers used in this particular game. Jamie's got to figure out, though, who's going first. Who's going to go after these shenanigans. He double checks, verifies that Okoye is in bodyguard range of Valkyrie. And so there's some protection there. So he decides, because of the bodyguard, and he doesn't want to just put 2 shots that get divided up between 2 characters, he's going to go with Modok first. This allows him to use bow first. So he bows Valkyrie out of range of Okoye and out of Shuri re-range rolls. So a really nice bow. We were double checking some positioning there, but I was like, dude, I'm within 2. I'm not going to have cover. So he was totally fine sticking me up against the building. So Modok lays in. It's Psionic Blast time. These are always scary. Always. Dice come down. He does have a sap power, but he does not have any ability to rerolls. So no rerolls for him. We're settling in. I still have Wakanda, my Wakanda affiliation to do 1 reroll. I still end up only blocking 1, so I take 3. So that puts her down to 2 stamina now, because she took 1 from the cube. He's got another shot. He's now got some power, so he does have access to potentially a throw. He also potentially has access to more bowing. So this is going to be a pretty crazy Modok turn. I was double checking. I'm like, did I take Recalibration Matrix? Because this might be time. But no, I did not bring it. I probably should have. Recalibration Matrix is fantastic. As is the podcast. All right, I'm blocking 2. He's only hitting me for 2, but he now has 3 power for rerolls. So he's at his side. He can reroll up to 3. Up to 3 because of how much power he has, not because of the ability. The ability can reroll as many as you want. So he decides he's going to spend 3. He gets 1 more damage in there. He deals 1. And so I've now got 1 stamina left. But now it's building time. So he throws the building out from underneath Star-Lord right into Valkyrie's face. And I do not get enough. I would have to block all of it. So there's no reason to go into rerolls there, because at that point I was going down either way. So he has the daze on Valkyrie right away. So not a bad Modok turn. It definitely could have been worse for me. So overall, I'm still happy with the way that has gone. I'm starting to theorize at this point that this might be a big Wakanda turn, possibly even Wakanda forever. I'm thinking he has not used Winging It tokens yet. And Star-Lord is already dazed, and so now he only has 5 stamina. I have potentially all 3 characters that can get shots onto Star-Lord if I need to, and I could take his leadership off the table. So I do a long move with Panther. This does put me into range 2 of him. I go for the mantle. Double checking like where I would push him after this first hit, because I'm thinking about Wakanda Forever already at this point. I'm not 100% sure exactly if I push him into Modok, exactly where he's going to be, but it looks like I'll still have him in range. So, it's strike time. Black Panther's my boy. So, he's got 1 block. With Mantle, I get a couple of rerolls. Alright. I'm at a full 5 damage. I deal him 4, so I've now taken him down to 1 stamina. Obviously, if I had gotten a crit and was able to get to 6 damage, then I don't even have to blow Wakanda Forever. But I still have a lot of control here, so now it's about where does he go? So at this point, the thing is, I'm thinking I might use Okoye to finish him off, but I've got to potentially pounce to whatever spot I want, where I want Black Panther to be before I play the card. So we're moving Valkyrie because her positioning isn't super relevant at the moment. It looks like I am just out to be able to strike Star-Lord from that position anyway. So now it's just a question of where does Black Panther want to go? And I have to do this first because Wakanda Forever's coming. And even if Okoye gets it, I probably want to do some sort of strike with Black Panther anyway, probably on Modok. Try to get him into a worse position. So, okay, so this is where, again, Pounce positioning gets a little rough. I don't have a spot to potentially pounce into him because of where Valkyrie is. So we had kind of moved his positioning a little bit because we were kind of double checking, like maybe does he go back, but no. So we just bump him up against Modok again. So now I'm going for the pounce. I can't get to him, but we're going to get as close as possible. I want to make sure that I can threaten Modok with my strike. So get my positioning. All right. Whew. It is Wakanda Forever time. Wakanda Forever. So, okay. So we've got the Black Panther positioning. It is time. Gonna start off with Okoye. Gotta get him off the table. Whew. Feel bad for Jamie. Gets maybe his first Guardians game, and I want to take Star-Lord off right away, and I feel bad. No, I don't. I can't feel bad. Okay, so Spear Blast from Okoye. I got Power 4 or Strength 4. He blocks 2. I got 3 damage. Don't need the reroll. Boom! Star-Lord is gone. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry. Sorry, Peter. Okay, so now we have a character murked, KO'd. It is the beginning of round 2, and Star-Lord, the leader, is off the table. I don't think I've ever seen this happen before. But it did mean I was going after a character that was not holding the cube, so I kind of gave up on Crisis for a little bit more overall element. So I do go for a Black Panther strike into... Sorry, not a Black Panther strike yet. This was a Shuri blast into Modok, trying to kind of push him away. I want to go for a kind of double push on him. And try to get some more damage in there. Again, he has a cube now because he took down Valkyrie. Got a point of damage from Shuri. Overall, I get 3 damage on him. Now I'm realizing I may have forgotten to push Modok. That might hurt me overall. Because definitely if I get the push, then he's even further out of position. So, mistakes happen, but Man, would I always feel good double pushing Modok. But it looks like I forgot. I was a little too excited about the fact that I was able to get Star-Lord off. All right. So, now he's going to go for Rocket. He wants to get some damage on the table. After losing Star-Lord, that's kind of a rough spot, but he's still got some options. He's going to put some damage on Shuri. He has... Looks like he's at 2 damage. I Wakanda reroll, but it doesn't end up helping. She takes 1 from that shot. But it does not give him enough for a Hadron Enforcer. So he puts another plasma rifle into Shuri. Love the dice. But this time Shuri had 2 blocks to his 2 damage, so no damage. So overall, not a great turn for Rocket. 2 shots, overall netting 1 damage. It probably should have been more like 2 or 3, so I'm very happy with that particular outcome. Now, because Black Panther generated enough power, what we're doing here is we're going to field dressing Valkyrie before I declare an activation so that she can immediately go to town on someone. I'm looking at now, I definitely need to make a scenario play. I need to make a play for the crisis because I already went after Star-Lord. And so here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking I have a chance to go after Groot. He's down a stamina because of the cube. So Valkyrie obviously has some power built up. So she is going after Groot. Not her optimal target, but I've got the power for Warrior of Legend, and we decided to just go all in. We're doing Warrior of Legend, Dragon Fang. Let's do this. I do not have any other rerolls from Shuri, so this I just got to go big. I'm really hoping for the wild. I end up with 1 crit, but it does not... I decide to spend my last power to do a Wakanda reroll. I would love to get a wild. But overall, no wilds. But I do get 5 damage on him. So that brings him down to 1 stamina, but I do not get the free attack. I would have loved to get a free strike there, so I could have moved on to the point with my last action, but this means I have got to attack. So, alright, here I'm going for a strike. He blocks 2. But I'm hitting for 4. So that finishes him off. I gain the power that I need to be able to pick up the cube. But I am on one stamina. And I did not get enough power to med pack because almost all my damage was on the Dragon Fang. So now I'm kind of in a position where I decide I am not going to have her pick it up. I decided to put it in a really awkward position where I don't really think he can reasonably get to it because he now has Dazed Groot and Modok is activated and Rocket is already activated. He just has Ronan. So I'm like, I'm not going to pick it up with Valkyrie. So because he can pass, I decide to have Okoye move up to the point and she picks up the cube. So, whew, all right, making my play for the crisis. I'm feeling good. He passes again. So I'm about Shuri manipulation now. I'm thinking, let's move some characters around. I know he potentially has a shot on Loki, so I'm thinking I save Loki for last, because I do have the Mind Stone, and I get some extra power onto Shuri, so I have access to rerolls. And I want to keep her safe. She's already taken a damage, so I decide it's worthwhile for me to kind of back her behind the size 3 terrain. I want to keep her healthy because I think she's going to be key to me being able to stay in control of this game. So now it's Ronan time. This dude is always scary. Every game against Ronan, it's been rough. So we're going to have to see what he does. So he goes for a move up, staying on the cube. This means I'm probably going to have to take a universal weapon to the face. I decided I am a god here. I think I could have trickstered. That would have actually been interesting, but at the point I am just trying to conserve stamina because he doesn't necessarily get the wild to push me. Blocking 3. So he does have the wild. So we do have a line, so he can actually push me pretty far back. So my plan of double moving Loki so that I can just go up onto his token and Mind Stone him off is not going to happen. So I am not going to be able to skew the game that much right off because he got the wild. So now I'm going to have Loki move up, still being on the point, but he did get in a range where I'm going to be able to Mind Stone him away. So I at least get to deny him that point. And Loki's still going to get super loaded up on power. And again, anytime I get to like move these guys back, it helps. So I go for a beam first, just kind of see if I can get a slow on him. But he's blocking 2. I'm dealing 2. I'm not sure I want to spend Shuri's power, but he's got plenty. So I decide to do 1 reroll from him, but it does not get it for me. Kind of debate for a minute. Should Shuri help him out? But 1 damage and the ability to slow him. I want to conserve her power. I still think it's going to be important. So I decide, no biggie. Let's just Mind Stone him out of the way. All right, so deny him the point. What we end up with now is score goes up to, he scores only 2 this turn, and I score 5. So now the score is 5-10. Let's move on to round 3. All right, well, round 2 is definitely crazy. Now we're going into potentially like a really game-defining turn. Things are blowing up. I'm already at a score of 10. There's definitely going to have to be some stuff happening now to keep the Guardians in the game. But he's got Modok. He's getting power loaded up on characters. There's definitely going to be a lot of firepower coming out. Obviously, if he had the Winging It tokens going into this round, this would be way better for him. So this is where executing Star-Lord is really going to probably pay off for me. But I've got Valkyrie at 1. I've been holding some cubes, so I've got some characters softened up. So there's still some really explosive opportunities here. And he's just got to decide who's going to lay into who first. Because again, he retains priority and he's got tons of firepower. So I know that I'm going to lose some characters. So he's got to make a decision. Groot's already onto his injured side, so he may want to do something first before that character goes down. But he's got Modok and Rocket. So at this point, we want to probably get Valkyrie off from threatening Groot. Now, mind you, there's a Okoye there too. So we're going to have to see, can he get both of them? All right, so Groot is activating. What we want to do there, Valkyrie's the priority, so he goes for the I am Groot. He's putting all the damage into Valkyrie, so it's pretty unlikely that she survives this. Looking at the so blocks 2, takes 2, and so that puts Okoye down to 1 stamina. But because he can just throw her wherever, that 1 stamina is not going to matter a whole lot because she's going to get chucked into Valkyrie. So Okoye hits Valkyrie. Okoye is going to auto daze and take 1. And Valkyrie has 1 stamina and needs to block 3 damage. So probably not going to survive, but maybe. But the way the dice come out, there's no chance. So move on. So he does have 2 dazes right off the bat. Okoye's dazed, Valkyrie's dazed, and it allows him to get a token back. And that's it for Groot. He also got Root onto Black Panther. God, I hate Root so much. That ability can be awful. And that's it for Groot. So, now I've got some tough choices. 2 of my characters just got dazed. So now I still have Shuri, I still have Loki, and I still have Black Panther. But I need to make... This can really spiral out of control for me unless I have a good play here. Because he still has Modok, Ronan, and Rocket. And so there's still a ton of firepower that can be leveraged into me. There's a part of me that's wondering, like, should Black Panther just like book it out of there? Since I forgot to push him and we did not realize it, I am very, very close to Modok. If I'd remembered to push him, maybe this would just be a like, hey, book it back to the point. But now I am stuck there, and so I have some damage on Modok. But I'm always scared to go after him because he negates wilds. But with Mantle, at least I can choose to reroll my wilds to try to get other successes. And I can't strike him once and book it away. And so I'm concerned if I go for one strike on him, and I don't get the 3 damage, then I can't pounce and move back to the point. So I'm a little worried about that play. It does not look like I'm in a position to potentially pounce towards Groot. I could potentially take one move over there and like knock him off that point. But he tends to heal up. So we remember that he has brace for impact, but like, okay, I guess it's time to attack Modok. So Mantle cost me 3. He blocks 1. I have wilds to reroll. Overall, I deal him 2. I would have loved to get 1 more, but he rerolls a blank, but he's still taking 2. So at my position, I can still push him into the dumpster, so I don't necessarily have to push him away. So the question here is, what? He has 3 stamina left. This is a hard spot because my dice tend to fail me when I go after Modok. But this is Black Panther. Black Panther is my boy. Like, so I decided going all in. Let's see if we can get Modok down. So we resolved the push this time. I get the damage on him. He does not have the ability to reroll into anything better. So I decide I'm going to push him away. We do realize that this means I am not getting the cube if I'm pushing him away. And so I'm like, do I push him into the dumpster so that I can keep the cube? But I end up thinking, I'm like, you know what? Let's try to keep this game a little bit more moderated. And so I decide here that let's just stick the cube out of position because you can only pick it up at range 1. And if the way that things have played out, maybe if I keep him there, maybe I med pack myself, but I can't pounce and do all of that. So I decide here, I'm just going to put it way out of position, where if Modok wants to go for it or Groot wants to go for it, they have to get way out of the game and they're giving up points to get it. And so hopefully that can kind of like mitigate his potential to score. And so hard decision, but I want Modok out of position and I want the cube way out of position. I realize that if I go for the pounce and burn that power, I'm at least going to get myself out of the double shot from Rocket. And so I decide I get out of position. I still could med pack myself. It would heal to 2. So that's kind of a difficult decision here. But at this point, I realize he can walk up and put a Hadron Enforcer on me. But I think that protecting Loki is probably going to end up being key. So I realize here that Shuri is going to Vibranium Shielding. I do realize that he has some push techs, so I don't do it for just 1. I debate for 3, but he's only got 1 shot. So in the end, just in case I decide I want to do it for 2 to try to make it difficult for his positioning. So, all right, Vibranium Shielding is also played. I am burning through the tactics cards. I still have Med Pack and God, now I'm trying to remember what my other card was. But okay, so Black Panther is gone. I feel like it was a good turn. Obviously, anytime you can get Modok days, he's way away from the other characters. So he decides to go with Rocket. We're putting a Hadron Enforcer into Loki. I decide to go for I Am a God. I've got access to rerolls. He drops his 7 dice. He's dealing 4 damage. I have 1 success. With Shuri rerolls, I only end up taking 1. And maybe I should have gone for a Wakanda reroll there, but they both took 1 between the Hadron Enforcer and the base shot. So overall, I'm okay with that result. So no damage on that final shot. All right, Rocket is activated. He still has Ronan. I have Loki and Shuri. I decide I want to activate Loki because I want to get the med pack used. I want to recover because the damage is starting to pile up on him, and I do think keeping him in the game is going to be key for me. So he medbacks back to full. I'm not really sure like what I should do with him here. But he's been kind of burning through power, so he doesn't have a lot else that he can do. I'm thinking about moving back. He's got 2 movements here, and I feel like I should be doing something tricksy with him. But I end up deciding, I'm like, let me just be in cover, so that if he's standing on his crisis, that I at least have cover from the blast. But he decides, all right, it's all in time, baby, and he is going for the Kree Justice on me. So, ooh, this is going to hurt. I've seen this power used quite a few times. I'm not feeling good about this. I do not have I Am a God. He has 5 total. With a Shuri reroll, I block 4. So, crit plus Shuri reroll. But he does have explosive. I'm stunned and... now stunned and staggered on Loki. And Shuri has taken another damage. But that's his final activation. I still have Shuri. Whew. Overall looking like... I kind of wanted to keep her safe, but I think at this point it may be best to just go after that point over there. Because if I get 1 more point, that puts me within 2 of winning, which I think is going to be key because I'm worried that I'm going to run out of characters real quick. So, move up. This allows me to go up to 14, and he goes up to 8. So I'm 6 victory points ahead of him. That's a good spot, but a lot can happen. Let's get on to the last round. All right. It is round 4. This is where Guardians have got to pull something out. Because with the score now at 8-14, he still has priority, so he does get to start things off. But Modok is horribly out of position, and he is way behind on points. But there's lots of potential. Like, characters are injured. Well, not injured, but they're all damaged pretty much. So something's got to happen here to spin things back into his favor. Let's see what ends up happening. Because starting at this turn, I had no idea what he was going to do first. So Vibranium Shielding is gone now. He's checking some range for Modok to kind of see what the options are. But Valkyrie is not in range from that position. So Modok doesn't have a great play just yet. He's still holding on to aim lackeys for when Modok does go. He decides to go for the Ronan play. He declares strike, but I do have the power now because he's holding a cube and he's on the formula and he generates 3. So I decide to go for the Trickster. do realizing now that he was stunned, so we do not have the right amount of power on Loki. Totally forgot about the stun negating one from the Asgardian. I'm hoping that that does not matter here. But now he's got to decide with Ronan, what does he want to do? He could still move forward and go for a blast on me, no problem. And so if he gets it, that's still a big problem for Loki. Because, again, Loki's injured, he's holding a cube, so there's a very reasonable chance that Loki can still go down. I definitely should have been at 2 power less. So I'm going for an I am a god here, but it looks like I would have had the power either way. But he gets enough. So even with me blocking 2, the problem is he's got the throw. So boom, he blasts me into the building. And so he has the power to pick up the cube. So now Ronan has 2 cubes. Shuri can't see him from there. And Loki is dazed. I knew keeping Loki up was going to be important, but he goes down. But good reminder, keep track of stun. We didn't pause for very long there. And Ronan decides he wants to make sure that he can survive into the next round, and so he medpacks himself. So I still have to worry about Modok and Groot and Rocket. I need to make sure I get 2 points. This is where it's key. That side is not looking great because there's not a whole lot I can do over there. So at this point I'm thinking I need Black Panther to be safe. I'm worried that if I try to run Black Panther towards Ronan's point, that it may just set up for Rocket to go after him. I'm also still concerned about Groot. Black Panther has been holding a cube for a while. So I decide Black Panther's just getting out of dodge. He is doing that long move thing, and that's just going to make sure that I'm getting 1 point. So it kind of goes, okay, with my remaining characters, I need to lock in 1 more point, but I'm not 100% sure what that's going to look like just yet. So he's got Rocket, Groot, and Modok. Any of these characters activating can drastically impact who I do next. But at this point, he's kind of thinking that he wants to be able to make use of aim lackeys. So that means that Modok needs to get up there and do something. So Modok moves forward. He's definitely got power. And so he goes for Whirling Blades. He does the Doomsday Chair. And so he goes into Okoye first because he doesn't want her just bodyguarding the shot from Valkyrie anyway. He puts, a ton of damage. He's hitting for 6. I ended up needing to roll 2, to basically have 2 rerolls and have both of them go. So I decided to have her do her free reroll, but she's gone. This is where we double check and we're like, wait a minute, Okoye's leaving the table now. The attack is resolved. We just double check real quick. And after the attack is resolved, Okoye's gone. So he does not get to make the second attack into Valkyrie. We try to think about it for a minute. Was there any more optimal way to do that for Modok? And no, the only possibility would have been to bow Okoye away and then just go for a Psionic Blast onto Valkyrie, which maybe would have been better in that case. But I think he's thinking he wants to be in a position to have a big play from Rocket. But since he moved Valkyrie that direction, so she wouldn't have cover to potentially for Rocket shots, I'm like, all right, let's get Rocket off the table. So go for the charge. I have the power for Warrior of Legend. So dice time. Rocket's fragile. He does always have cover, but He had 1 block from cover. And I have enough with Warrior of Legend to drop him. So we realize at this point, me getting that play on Rocket actually ends the game. So we assume at this point, I'm going to score that point. The only character he has left to activate is Groot. He can't go pick up the other cube. He can't move over there and have an impact there. So final score ends up being 13-16. Man, great game. Wakanda and Guardians, 2 awesome affiliations, and that's just how it played out. So on to the next one.